Hey, all you cool cats and kittens out there. I'm Andrew Einstein, and this is Gunner the Service Dog. And together, we are your hosts of the 1023 podcast. I wanted to do a quick Facebook Live video today for a couple reasons. Originally, we were scheduled to go on air for our premiere episode tonight at 8 o'clock up in the Blue Room up in Paterson, New Jersey. However, today we live in uncertain times, and unfortunately there are some members of the Blue Broadcasting Network that had gotten sick with the COVID virus. So in the abundance of caution, speaking with my producer, Josh, thanks Josh, and with everyone else in the, the Blue Broadcast Network and some of the other podcast shows, we decided to push back our premiere episode to May 15th at 8 p.m. It's a Saturday, same time, different date. A couple reasons we want to do that. Look, these are uncertain times, as I said. We don't really know a lot about this virus. And look, no matter what your feelings on, let's play it safe here. Speaking with Earl, who's going to be our first guest, we were back and forth over what we were going to do. And we could have gotten into the studio and done it with just him and I. However, we really want to bring you guys a really good show, and we didn't want to do this bare minimum. So we decided to push it back. Again, the new episode's going to be May 15th at 8 p.m. It's a Saturday. Same great location, same great time, same great host. And, we're gonna give you a great show. So, since we didn't get to bring you the amazing show that we wanted to tonight, I figured I'd tell you a little bit about how the 1023 podcast came to fruition. So I was lucky enough to be invited up to the Blue Room podcast, which I surmise now it's all because of my cool dog Gunner, which I'm okay with. So Gunner and I went up, and we got to talk about police suicide and how it has affected me in my job and my career. So for those of you who don't know, I served in the Marine Corps for 12 years in the reserves. The entire time I was in the Marine Corps, I was also a cop. I came back from Marine Corps boot camp, went into reserves, got hired at the PD, and served concurrently. During my 12 years in the Marine Corps, as a cop, I also deployed twice. And the last deployment, I got hurt. I received a traumatic brain injury, which caused complete deafness on my right side. And when I got back, I was working as a part-time cop. And I was really afraid that if I, raised my hand and said, hey, listen, I'm having some issues here. I need to get some help. I really thought that, well, there goes my badge and gun. And that's my career. So I decided to handle things on my own, and what that entailed was through alcohol. And, they tell you not to do it, and, I did it. And on May 5th, 2012, I attempted suicide. The next day, I brought a dog home, Gunner, and that day he saved my life. From that day forward, I found a responsibility and a purpose in Gunner that I found I was lacking from being home from war. And as we went into training and we got better and I got better, I learned that, just because you're in that back corner, everything seems dark and there's no, there's no bright light ahead. I learned that there is. It doesn't matter how dark it gets. You just got to keep moving forward and you'll find that light. So Gunner and I started talking around the country and speaking about resiliency and overcoming adversity. And then we landed on the Blue Room podcast. So fast forward a couple episodes that we got to sit in on. Maybe a few we had a little too much to drink and had a great time. But they approached me and they said, hey, we'd like you to have a podcast with you and Gunner. Come up with a name. We love what you're doing, but you got to make that name stick. So I was thinking, and I came up with a play on words, so to speak. So I work in the city, and our code for on location is 1023 or 1023. the way I interpreted that, especially when I was on the street and I would go to persons in crisis calls, being able to use my background of being in crisis, I interpreted, hey, when I'm 2-3, I'm there for you, and I'm not leaving until I figure out what's going on and I can help. So it's not just on location. It's 1023 means I'm here for you. We're gonna fix this. We're in it together. And while we were talking, my producer Josh had said, "Hey, 22 veterans a day kill themselves." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "If you killed yourself, you would have been the 23rd." And it just kind of hit, and I said, "Wow, that's deep." So it's a play on words in both senses. The I'm here for you, and I'm not leaving until I can help you and get you better. But also, I would have been the 23rd veteran that day. So then created the 1023 podcast. We have a great lineup of guests to bring to you. We're really excited about that. Our first guest, who, again, we were really bummed that we couldn't have on the show tonight, Earl Granville, retired staff sergeant from the PA Army National Guard. Earl is a great friend of mine, and his story is absolutely amazing. I don't want to give it away. Listening to him tell it, I can do him no justice. But the quick background is he enlisted in the Army after 9/11. Him and his twin brother went to Iraq. They came home. He went to Afghanistan, lost his leg, and his world just crumbled from under him after that. And Earl came back and was triumphant, and now just is one of the most amazing persons I've ever met in my life, with everything he's gone through. Not to mention, he's the proud owner, now I'm the proud owner of my great drinking leg. I said to Earl one day, I said, "Hey, when you break a leg, so to speak, what happens with it? Do you throw it out?" He goes, "No, I just collect them in my closet." I said, "Well, when you break your, bust your next leg, can I get one? I'd love to have a drinking leg." And he said, "Sure." He brought me a leg to our next race, and the stories kind of write itself with that one. There's plenty of you on here right now that I know have partaken in drinking from the leg, and there's plenty more, I surmise, will either voluntarily or being voluntold to will drink from the leg. But Earl is going to be our first guest, and we didn't want to have the first episode really without Earl. I could have done it, maybe next week or the following week. Earl's going to be traveling the country. As I said, he also public speaks. That is his main job now. He goes around the country and talks to everyone from first grade classes all the way to the prison system. And he won't be back until May. So talking with Earl, I said, "Listen, brother, I don't want anybody else on my show first. I want you. I think your story really is going to set the tone for what I hope this podcast to achieve." And he said, "Well, let's do it. We'll make it May 15th. So my drinking leg, Earl, Gunner the Service Dog, all will be live in the studio May 15th at 8 p.m. If I could ask all of you that see this, make sure you not only like the 1023 Facebook page, but follow it as well. By following it, you'll get notified when we go live. That'll help you see these podcasts and whatnot. The following's really, really important. Shortly after the 15th episode, the very next Saturday, we're hoping to lock in that next Saturday, but our next guests, I should say, have to do with Gunner. I'm really excited to have in the studio the breeder who brought me Gunner, and getting emotional just thinking about it. Because if it wasn't for her, none of this would be here. And all she did was breed dogs, and now 9 years later, we still keep in contact, and it's a pretty cool story how it all came to fruition. In addition to her, I'll have a very good friend of mine, a Marine Corps brother of mine, who was pivotal in helping me pick Gunner. as well as before any of this came into play, when I was working as a part-time cop and had some issues dealing with the Marine Corps side of my service and my civilian job, he, as a Marine, stepped up and said, "Nope, I'm going to help you. I got your back." And that's how we met. And he's been pivotal in that. He helped with Gunner's training and has really helped me throughout my whole recovery and just going forward. So I'm really excited to hear about his story. I mean, he has another amazing story. One of the first Marines into Iraq. He's just amazing. In addition to that, we're going to probably have her call in. She is the trainer, or I should say the female who set up the nonprofit for Gunner to get the training that he did. And because of that training, he was able to do what he's done for me over the last 9 years. So we're really excited. We were totally bummed that we couldn't have the show tonight. We were stoked about it. Really looking forward to getting up in the studio and getting behind the mic. But, look, like I said, these are uncertain times, and it's better to err on the side of caution than be bullheaded and find out later you made the wrong mistake. And none of this could have been without Dan Davalia, who is currently, and there we go, Mo starting stuff. Dan, who has COVID right now, I've been told he's doing well. Dan, we thank you for everything you've done with the studio and the Blue Broadcast Network, and for bringing our podcast on. Without you, we would just be a man and a dog running around the country just trying to tell our story. So I really thank you for everything you've done. I really hope I pronounced your name right, because a certain someone told me that you might kick my ass if I pronounced it wrong. But I hope you feel better. And, look, we're really excited for what we can do with this podcast. I have some really, really good guests lined up from all walks of life. I know the podcast is going to be centered on first responder, police, military, suicide, and stuff like that. But I've identified a lot of great people that I think can bring a lot of interesting angles to our realm and what we're talking about in this podcast. Working on now with a firefighter who was a career firefighter and was assigned as a SWAT medic, and reached out and said, "Hey, I need some help. I'm dealing with some issues," and his department kicked him to the door. Got in contact with him through all of that. He said, "I can either fall or rise back up," and he chose the latter. And now he's doing great things with canines. We're hoping to have him and his canine in the studio. His canine makes Gunner look like a old sloppy pet. And I'm okay with saying that, because he does. That's how good of a trainer he is. I will say they also beat out Gunner in a contest for Men's Health magazine. That's how we met. But we're looking forward to having him in the studio too. So as bummed as we are not to be in the studio tonight, we have great things planned. Again, May 15th is going to be the premiere episode of the 1023 podcast, 8 p.m. Mark it on your calendars. Make sure you like and follow the Facebook page, and share it with your friends and all that other stuff, because we want to make this big. Right now I see Craig White. He's all the way in England watching. Craig has really helped me through some hard times, and it's pretty cool that now we have someone across the pond. Maybe we can get Craig over here into the studio and talk about his dealings with over in Afghanistan, how he and I came together. But we'll see. We also have, as I see Jay mentioned, we have some plans for the 1023. We're going to be working to make a nonprofit foundation, the 1023 Foundation. And my goal with that is to create a nonprofit that secures funding for first responders who cannot go see a therapist based on their lack of trust of using their own insurance, or if they've identified a therapist that does not take insurance, my goal is to have them be able to come to us and say, hey, here's what I want to do. And we can say, awesome. We want to be able to give them the means to speak to that person, whether it's because they're in imminent crisis, they're just dealing with something, or they just want to try it out because they've been, a first responder for however many years, and, it's been taking a toll. So we're going to be working on that. That's not Gunner. That's the untrained dog, Raina. My wife and kids are home. So as my monsters are going to come barreling through the door any minute, our hopes for the foundation are to get people to see therapists that would not normally be able to do so or willing to do so. So we'll have more to come on that. Jay has been pivotal in helping me with that, working on some bylaws and stuff. I don't know how that all works. I am a cop because I got C's in high school. So Jay, who's a slightly smarter cop than I am, is helping me with the words and making sure I don't spell